As hunger strikes go, the one conducted by a handful of cabbies outside Toronto City Hall earlier this month surely has to be categorized as an epic fail. The cabbies who were protesting the Uber ride-sharing service began their strike on December 1st. They wrapped up the protest on the morning of December 4th. Apparently, they got hungry. They also came to the realization that Uber wasn't about to go away anytime soon. So what began as a hunger strike basically petered out as a low-calorie diet protest, kind of like Teresa Spence's so-called hunger strike 2 years ago. But there's a very good reason why the cabbies' hunger strike failed miserably. There's virtually zero public support for their position. The idea that an increasingly unpopular and overpriced service is somehow entitled to government protection in order to continue its existence. Now, riddle me this, Cape commuter. If you're a member of the taxi cab business, an industry that is clinging to life support, much like, say, record stores and video rental shops, what do you do for an encore? Well, apparently, you double down on the stupidity sweepstakes. So it was that hundreds of crabby cabbies recently took to the streets of Toronto to withdraw their services and clog intersections. They created gridlock, even on one major avenue that is home to most of Toronto's hospitals. That was smart, guys. A good thing nobody died en route to the emergency ward. The cabbies also made thousands of people late for work, and as you can well imagine, hundreds of commuters who had never even heard of Uber before were suddenly downloading the Uber app and joining the shared economy revolution. As far as I can tell, if the end goal of this pathetic and irresponsible act of civil disobedience was to piss off an entire city and hasten the cab industry's own extinction event, well, congratulations, cabbies. You notched a bases-loaded homer when it comes to manufacturing a public relations disaster. At the end of the day, Uber is all about facilitating ride-sharing, linking people who have rides with people who need rides. When it comes to taxi cab oligopolies, Uber offers a service that is about 40% cheaper than traditional cabs and also offers an experience in which the vehicles are cleaner and the drivers are friendlier. Oh, and there's never a problem paying by credit card. Uber offers more for less. On the flip side, the taxi cab industry wants consumers to receive less but pay more, all the while offering a service with a snarl. You don't have to be a Harvard economics major to understand why Uber is surging in popularity the world over, while traditional taxis are taking the express lane to obsolescence. But you know, old school monopolies and oligopolies tend to be set in their ways, folks. So instead of revamping their business and getting more competitive, the cab companies are demanding government protection. They actually want municipalities to outlaw competitive services that consumers desire. If there was no demand for Uber, the San Francisco-based company wouldn't be a $50 billion juggernaut. So the question arises, what fool wants to outlaw progress? Even so, the argument put forth by the cabbies is that they are essentially entitled to a living, offering a service fewer and fewer people want. And even if consumers don't want that service, well, the cabbies argue they should still shell out for it. You see, it's all about what's good for the cabbie, not the consumer. You know, it brings to mind that classic comic routine by Abbott and Costello regarding what I call mustard economics. Check it out.
Suppose you walk into a baseball field. What teams are playing?
I don't know.
Then what are you doing in that baseball field?
I don't know. You got me in here, now get me out.
Look, what is the first thing you buy in a baseball field?
A hot dog?
The hot dog.
Without mustard?
Mustard goes with a hot dog.
Not with mine.
Mustard was made for the hot dog.
Now, but look, I don't like mustard.
Mustard and the hot dog go together.
Let them go together. I don't want to spoil any romance.
Do you know they spend millions of dollars every year to put up factories just to manufacture mustard? Do you know those factories employ thousands and thousands of men just to manufacture mustard? Do you know those men take care of thousands of families and homes, all on account of mustard? And you, just because you don't like mustard, what do you want them to do? Close those factories down and put all those people out of work?
Do you mean to sit there and tell me just because I don't eat mustard, I'm going to close down the mustard factory?
No, wait a minute. No.
Are you trying to tell me that those thousands of people are making one little jar of mustard like this just for me?
Now, wait a minute. You don't understand.
Well, if they are, you can tell them not to make any more because I'm not going to eat it.
All right, so you don't like it.
Hey, that was played for laughs when it was recorded back in 1948. But the mustard economics theory is what's driving the cab business today, i.e., Even if the consumer doesn't like the cab service, he or she should still support it because, hey, cabbies need to make a living offering an inferior service at a more expensive price. It's reverse Darwinism, survival of the unfittest, if you will. And if we embrace this way of thinking, we'd still be getting around via horse and buggy and watching movies on a Betamax. Bottom line, we now live in a shared economy, aided and abetted by smartphones and smart apps and, well, smart people like the folks behind Uber who realize that when it comes to ground transportation, there is indeed a better way. As for the cabbies, instead of demanding government protection or conducting silly and downright dangerous strikes, how about this? Adapt your antiquated service so that it is more like Uber and less like what you're offering. In other words, drop the mustard economics theory already. For TheRebel.Media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies.